live from the Richard Harris Law Firm Studios.
With the 29th selection in the 2026 NHL Draft, the Vegas Golden Knights select from Tampere, Finland, Juho Piiparainen.
This is the VGK Insiders Show.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable feeling, and I think I can't understand that yet, but maybe after this day.
He's a really good two-way defenseman. He's got really good transition. He's a good skater. He can contribute in every aspect of the game. I think there's potential for his game to grow as well.
With Ryan Wallis.
The Vegas Golden Knights select Benjamin Wilmot from Barrie of the Ontario Hockey League.
As a little kid growing up playing the sport you love, this is what you dream about. I'm just so grateful to be here and do this with my family. It's an unreal experience. It's awesome.
On Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Welcome in, Vegas Golden Knights Insider Show, Fox Sports Las Vegas. Ryan Wallis, Willie Ramierez, Angel Castro, hanging out with you for the next 2 hours. It is July 1st. Free agency is officially open in the National Hockey League. The Vegas Golden Knights have reportedly been active, and we'll dig into that. We've also got Danny Webster coming on the program at 4:30. So undoubtedly, Danny will come on the program. He'll tell us about some big trade or something breaking, pressing, and then I'll get him to complain about Justin Bieber for 3 minutes, and then he'll just leave the show. Willie, how you doing?
It depends. It depends on the city, right?
What?
Well, you were talking about complaining because he announced the pick during the draft. So realistically, he could be complaining about.
He was mad at Bieber because he was taking too long
at the draft.
Yeah.
So let's say today there's a deal in place that has to do with Nashville. Maybe he'll complain about a country star.
No, I think it's only going to be Justin Bieber
Or Toronto. It's always Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
This is Toronto, bud.
We'll talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. No. What story?
You don't know that this is Toronto story?
No.
From 10 years ago?
I have
no
idea.
We are officially into season 10.
Yes, it started today. New player contracts mean new season. So we're good. What's the This is Toronto story? Now I need to know. Are you not allowed to say it on the air?
I don't care. We were standing outside the visitor locker room where we used to stand around for the scrum, waiting for Mike Babcock.
Oh, fun.
And the PR person come out and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and do whoever it was. Who was a star 10 years ago, probably?
For Toronto?
Yeah.
Phil Kessel?
It wasn't Phil Kessel.
Okay.
It definitely wasn't Phil Kessel.
That's my best guess for you.
So we scurry into the...
Well, I mean, Austin and Mitch were around then.
It wasn't Austin and Mitch.
Okay. That's fine.
Is
it Morgan Riley?
I'm going to look
Was it John Tavares?
I don't think it was John Tavares, but we're going to look it up now that I'm going to...
Listen, all the Golden Knight stuff can wait. Now I need to know what the end is. The conclusion of this is Toronto.
So we scurry into to stand around the locker, waiting for whoever it was that was coming in.
Let's just pretend it's Phil Kessel.
Okay.
Can we just pretend for a minute that it's Phil?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Good.
And Danny and I were the first, because where we were standing, we were sort of on the outside, but close enough, holding, but closest to the locker room door.
Mm-hmm.
So when she said that, Danny and I just turned around and walked in. It's like we were sort of on the outside of the scrum. When we turned around, we were the front of the whole media pack that followed us into the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
So we're standing in front of the locker, whoever it was that we were waiting on.
Phil Kessel.
And this for Phil Kessel. And who, by the way, I'm looking at the 2017-18 Maple Leafs roster, and he wasn't on it.
Okay, that's fine.
But
he was a Penguin by that point, but it's fine.
But this woman comes walking in with the TV camera with her cameraman, and not steps in front of, shoves Danny out of the way, because we were dead center waiting for when we walk into after a game for the Golden Knights, we were right there.
Yeah.
Just shoved. And I don't remember if it was the actual Maple Leafs rinkside reporter or if it was a TV station.
Sure.
And Danny kind of looked, she goes, "This is Toronto, bud." And it just turned like there was no, hey, this is Toronto. We need. It was just she just looked at him like, dude, don't you know this is? It was, but there was no prelude. It was just, this is Toronto, bud. And Danny and I looked at each other and just, I mean, the thoughts that we both were on the same wavelength, looking at each other within 3 seconds, knowing what we wanted to say, like aside from this is Vegas, you're in Vegas.
Yeah.
Hey, you. The thoughts were rampant. But anyway, so now to this day, when Danny comes on, just say
I'll
this
ask
is
him.
Toronto. He'll know.
Okay, that's fine.
He'll know exactly what it means.
So we'll get to Danny Webster around 4:30. Hopefully nothing completely derails the show at that point. We have an idea of what the Golden Knights have done so far in free agency. However, I do want to preface everything that we're about to talk about right now with there has been no official update yet from the Vegas Golden Knights as far as the team goes. There's been no press release on what they have and have not done in terms of signings, in terms of trades. I know what's been reported. I've seen the tweets. I have seen what has been out there from the insiders, the Darren Dregers, the Chris Johnstons of the world, and we're going to talk about those things. I have seen what Danny Webster himself has reported as well that the Vegas Golden Knights have done. So the reality of the situation is all of this stuff right now is reported. When it gets to us that it is all official, we will talk about it in a more official capacity. However, so far, the Vegas Golden Knights have reportedly signed Rasmus Andersson to a 7-year deal. They have reportedly signed Victor Olofsson to a 1-year contract. They have reportedly signed Jeremy Lauzon to a 6-year deal as well. And they have reportedly signed Dylan Coghlan to a 2-year deal. You've got your finger in the air.
Golden Knights official tweet.
Okay. Is everything that I just said officially done?
The Golden Knights have acquired a 2029 third-round pick and a 2027 seventh-round pick from the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for
Keegan Colasar.
There you go.
Okay, so that is now official. The Vegas Golden Knights have traded Keegan Colasar to the Detroit Red Wings for a third-round pick in 2029 and a seventh-round pick in 2027. That was my next bullet point. So we'll start there, obviously, for the Vegas Golden Knights. Keegan Colasar has been around the organization for a long time, a day one type of guy, right? Like in the expansion draft, he wasn't selected in the expansion draft, but was part of one of those trade packages that sweetened the deal in terms of selecting a certain player. I think that Keegan brings a lot of things to the table that are incredibly valuable. We know that he sticks up for his teammates. We know that he is well-liked, well-loved in that locker room. However, the theme for the Golden Knights over the last 4 days, from the draft to this point here, has been about reacquiring assets, stockpiling picks. And I'll explain why I think that's important moving forward. But to get 2 picks for Keegan Colasar right now and to free up $2.5 million in cap space, I think is incredibly important for the Golden Knights moving forward. So I don't mind the deal. I do think you're going to miss some of the things that Keegan brings to the table, but it's not as shocking of a trade as what we had last Friday when the Golden Knights traded Pavel Dorofeev. You're really bummed about this.
Well, you know, the very first ever development camp, which we're coming up on soon for development camp, was held at the ice rink right up the street.
Yeah.
Alex Tuck was there. Keegan Colasar was there for that one.
Sure.
So when you say day one meaning before City National Arena was even built.
Absolutely.
A pair of fixtures. Who are they going to miss most is a good question. And, you know, you look at the salary cap issue and you weigh that. I think where this team is at this point, and it's very hard for me to say, mainly because of, from a media standpoint, you build I've always said this. We're not supposed to cross that boundary of friendship with athlete, but when you cover somebody for a lot of time, a lot of years, you establish a relationship of some kind. Maybe not friends, we're not buddies, but I'll miss Keegan Colasar. And I think the relationship in terms that he has built, the friendships that he's built in that locker room, in the evolution of his game from the proposed, assumed inheritance of the enforcer role from Ryan Reeves to actually what he's become for that team, the role that he's played is also. But all that being said, I think if you ask which one they'll miss the most, I think it's going to be Dorofeev's production if he can, try to produce, or if they can try to match that based on the fact that he was a leading goal scorer the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, on the ice, you're missing 37 goals from Pavel Dorofeev. Like, there's no way of getting around that. Now, again, it's been reported out there that the Golden Knights have come to terms with Victor Olofsson on a one-year deal. We all remember a couple of years ago, Victor Olofsson was a part of the Vegas Golden Knights. He was taking power play reps until he got hurt about 9 games into the season, and that's when Pavel Dorofeev went off, right? That's where Pavel was able to take advantage of an opportunity on the power play, and he ran with it. To his credit, good on him for doing it, but I think for Victor Olofsson, like, he probably looks back at that moment, that opportunity, and because of the injury, he gets out of the rhythm of being on the power play, kind of loses that spot, and is unable to really find a spot in terms of the lineup moving forward. Now, all that being said, if Olofsson is in the fold, I think we all kind of expect and understand that he's going to be the guy in that Pavel spot on the power play, assuming the Golden Knights do nothing else in free agency. But I don't think that that's a bad option. He's a left-hand shot. He's familiar with what they're trying to do and putting the puck there. And Victor Olofsson on the power play is an incredibly poised player. So is it going to completely make up for the 37 goals you're losing with Pavel Dorofeev not in the lineup anymore? No. But is it going to get you closer to it? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you also have to take in consideration that what you're missing out on, Dorofeev's a young guy, but with what they're bringing in and the potential also, they're looking at, will they ever see that again? Will they be able to make up for that? I mean, in a sense, that's your goal somewhere, somehow. So while you're giving up 37 goals, they're looking for it as well, and they're counting on. I mean, I know this is a long shot, and I'm not calling for it. I'm not saying it, but who knows what's going to happen with Trevor Connolly? So who knows what's going to happen with younger guys that they have potential that has a breakout? Because guess what? That's what we saw from Dorofeev. Right. Is it going to be immediate? Maybe not. But where they get it from, I don't know. But I think that's what their mindset is.
I think, again, I like the idea of an Olofsson because what he does is shoot the puck. That's what Victor Olofsson does. It's what he's done in his entire career.
Right.
Now, that all being said, your point on Trevor Connolly is a good one in the sense that I believe the Golden Knights are going to give younger players every opportunity to make this team. When you have a head coach in Ryan Craig who has been around those young guys, who knows them inside and out, who knows who is really on the precipice of making the jump to the National Hockey League, they're going to get a fair shake in training camp. And I think that's all you can ask for. Now, with Trevor Connolly, he is a dynamic playmaker. Can he score 30 goals at the National Hockey League level? Time will tell, but he's still very, very new in his professional career. If it doesn't happen for Connolly right out of training camp next year, don't worry too much. I think there'll be opportunity for him as the year goes on if he's not on the roster game one coming out of training camp.
Yeah, and they'll be. I mean, he's going to have a spot. There's no doubt. And this is where we'll continue to go back to, I mean, this being the final show, but as we open up in September, right, is where we'll continue to talk about and go back to Ryan Craig.
Sure.
Knowing these guys, having worked with these guys, and knowing where things will fit, right? I mean, he's got that step ahead, as we mentioned last week, in knowing the chemistry and the inner workings of how these guys think and how they operate on the ice. So he'll actually Ryan Craig's going to have a spot for everybody, and in his mind know where to utilize to their strengths because of sort of working behind the scenes as an assistant, and then again with Henderson. So I don't know. I'm keeping an optimistic approach here. I mean, with what they're doing and the dealings that are being made. I'm still waiting. What am I waiting for, Ryan?
You're waiting for something big.
Splash.
You're waiting for the splash. Okay. I don't believe the splash is coming right now.
Let me see. Patrick Laine is available.
Okay, don't Don't do that right now. To my knowledge, Patrick Laine has not been signed by anybody in the National Hockey League yet, but neither is Alex Ovechkin. So
we don't need him.
I mean, listen.
That would be fun, but
that would be a splash.
That would be a splash.
Like when he won the Stanley Cup and took a dive into the fountain. Like that's what Alex Ovechkin's known for. And scoring goals. Those are the two things. Listen.
Which fountain? The Bellagio?
I don't know.
Oh.
No, it wasn't Bellagio. I think it was in D.C.
Did you see the guy over the weekend that jumped in the...
No.
Oh.
When did that happen?
Over the weekend, I saw it on TikTok. Guy jumped into the
I
fountain.
saw it
came out,
on
put his
TikTok.
Put his shirt on and walked off while the fountain's at the very end. I think it was during the national anthem or the God Bless America they were playing as the fountains were going off. He jumps in, he came out.
Okay, so Keegan Colasar traded to the Detroit Red Wings for a third-round pick in 2029, a seventh-round pick in 2027. A couple of other trades to keep you in the loop on. Akira Schmid was traded to the Florida Panthers from the Golden Knights for a 2028 third-round pick. That happened over the weekend. And Caden Korczak dealt to the Pittsburgh Penguins in return for defenseman Parker Wotherspoon. And Wotherspoon comes in at 50% salary retained, so only $500,000 against cap. So the Golden Knights were able to pick up money on the deal for Wotherspoon. I like Wotherspoon a lot. He had some really good chemistry last year for the Pittsburgh Penguins with Erik Karlsson. It was a resurgent type of season for Erik Karlsson, so he is the type of defenseman that can play with somebody that's a little bit more offensively minded and make sure that things are taken care of, put out fires, so to speak. So for the Golden Knights, they moved on from Akira Schmid, get a third-round pick out of it, and they move on from Caden Korczak, bring in Parker Wotherspoon to kind of shore up their D. Now, again, it's been reported that the Golden Knights have signed Rasmus Andersson to a 7-year contract, $8.5 million AAV. Nothing official yet, but it has been reported, as well as Jeremy Lauzon, 6-year deal, $4 million. That's what's out there. That's what's been reported. So if all that is true and happened, then the Golden Knights have their D locked up for next season.
Do you when you look at what we talked about, or we mean in a general reference through the last part of the season and into the playoffs, from the defensive standpoint, that both Bruce Cassidy and John Tortorella sort of harped on that needed to be, do you think that they've answered those questions? If Rasmus Andersson is locked up, have they answered the questions going into next season?
So with Rasmus Andersson, I think it's really interesting because I know fans were frustrated by the lack of production offensively in the playoffs. And it's interesting because final 10, 12 games of the regular season, I thought Andersson was terrific. Yeah. Like, right, he found his groove. He found his game, so to speak. And I believe in the case of Rasmus Andersson that there's so much upside. There's so much potential. We saw flashes of it. But last season was tough in the sense that you had all of these unknowns about were you going to be traded? Then you get traded. You come to Vegas, if you're Rasmus Andersson. You play for a couple of weeks. Then you go to the Olympics. Then you come back from the Olympics. You've got all that stuff to deal with. You're going through the grind, moving family out here, everything that comes along with being traded in the National Hockey League. And then, like, he talked about it going into right before the Stanley Cup final, loses somebody incredibly close to him in Claude Lemieux. Like, it was a whirlwind and incredibly difficult, trying 3.5, 4 months for Rasmus Andersson. And through it all, I thought he had some great moments, some big flashes. And I think that with everything stabilized, he's going to be better for it. I just do. And so Andersson brings a different dynamic in the offensive zone. He just does. You know what Shea Theodore is. You know what Braden McNabb is. You know what Noah Hannafin is. Like, you've got your top four in a pretty good spot. I think we all know who Jeremy Lauzon is. He's going to make people hurt. That's the reality of the situation. And then you throw in another guy that's pretty stable in Parker Wotherspoon. I don't think you're going to have to worry about him too much just in terms of coverage in his own zone. I think that they have beefed up their D as best they can, right? Like, I do believe that. I think they're going to be in a better spot defensively moving forward, a little bit more veteran than they were last year.
With Jeremy, one of the things that stood out, or not that I, that when he got here, our good friend Jesse pointed it out to me, and I was, and then all of a sudden it was like every single time I'd see it every single game, that unnecessary shot, and there's always a chance he's going to get called for something. When Ryan Reeves got here, if you remember, those first 2 games were against the LA Kings. And I think he had like 2 penalties in each game. He just completely, Kolasar was a bruiser at the beginning. But they were tempered. Do you think that Ryan Craig will talk to him about that, or do you think you want him to step up and continue to do that? Because he does at times take those unnecessary shots, and it could be costly against certain teams at certain times in a game.
I don't think you're going to change Jeremy Lauzon. And quite honestly, without Keegan Kolasar in your lineup, I don't think you want to. Right? Like, the reality is, if you're looking at it from a quote-unquote enforcer situation, Jeremy Lauzon's that guy now. Right? Like, he is the guy that's taking up the mantle, so to speak, from Keegan Kolasar. Because he's willing to do it. He's going to hit people. And you don't want to be soft in front of your own net. That's something Jeremy Lauzon isn't.
I don't think he has to shed that image, Ryan, but I think that he needs to, as I use that phrase again, he needs to temper the unnecessary extra shot. He needs to learn that that little half-second window.
Well, to be honest, Jeremy Lauzon makes a lot of plays, does a lot of things, irritates a lot of opponents, and never gets the retaliation call.
That's true.
And that's unfortunate because there have been situations and scenarios where 2 guys are punching Jeremy Lauzon in the face after he agitates the opposition, and the refs even it up. Like, to be honest, I think that there's a reputation that Lauzon has that doesn't give him the benefit of the doubt when it comes to certain calls. And I'd rather see him get the benefit of the doubt. I'd rather see the right calls on the ice as opposed to penalizing a player for playing physically. Because I don't think that that's fair. I don't think that it should be the case.
It's too bad there's no place for him in the WNBA.
That's a good point. So, all in all, how are you feeling about the Golden Knights right now?
I'm still out there about the Dorofeyev, as we talked about Friday. I'm still kind of out there, not because I feel they shouldn't have, just like we talked about, and I keep saying, like, I'm waiting. I want to know. I want to know where.
But okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
I do feel.
But do you feel like that's coming right now? Because I don't. I don't feel like the big splash is coming right now.
No, because somebody asked me, where was I? Somebody asked me, gosh, I can't even think of where it was or if it was today. Somebody was asking me about what they're doing. I said, man, they're really stockpiling the picks right now. And why? It's because for next season, or for the trade deadline in February. And that's where we could see them, where Kelly can make that splash, is he's waiting and stockpiling the picks for then, not now.
So this feels very similar to me to 2024-25, where the Golden Knights go into the season looking to replace a lot of the offense, a lot of the players that moved on in free agency after winning a Stanley Cup and trying to repeat in 23-24. And so what you do is you put together your lineup, you put together your team, you field what you have, you see if younger players can step up. In the case of Pavel Dorofeyev, it worked. He scored 35 goals that year, and that was a big stepping stone for Dorofeyev. You brought in guys like Victor Olofsson around the edges to see if you can get a little bit more for a little bit less money, and then you see where you're at, you see what you need, and you go out and make a trade at the deadline. Traditionally, the Vegas Golden Knights have done a really good job of identifying their needs, identifying the player that makes the most sense, and going out and making the trade when it matters, when it makes more sense, when it's a little bit cheaper at the trade deadline. I think your big offseason splash, quite honestly, isn't going to come now. I don't know that it's going to come before the season, and it might not come until we turn to 2027
in February.
Yeah, but I think very realistically, you're going to see what this team is. You're going to see how they can grow, where they need help, and then that's where all the accumulation of the draft picks, everything the Golden Knights were able to get for Dorofeev, what they just got for Keegan Colasar, what they got for Akira Schmid, restocking the cupboard allows them the flexibility and the ability to make those big deals later when they have identified what their team is, what they need, and who best fits. That's what I think the goal is.
Yeah, the more and more that I was thinking about it as these moves were being made, that's what gosh, it's really bugging me that I can't think of who I was talking to when I was saying maybe Kelly's just stockpiling these picks for February.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right way to look at it. We'll get Danny Webster's opinion on that. We got Danny coming up next on the VGK Insider Show. It's Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Hockey, noun. Webster's dictionary defines hockey as a game played on an ice rink by two teams of 6 players on skates whose object is to drive a puck into the opponent's goal with a hockey stick. It's time to talk to Webster. Danny Webster, that is.
VGK Insider Show rolling along. We got Danny Webster, Las Vegas Review-Journal, joining us. Free agency opened up earlier today. The last time Danny was on this program, he said Pavel Dorofeev had been traded, and then he just dropped us like a bad habit. Danny, how you doing?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to try and joke around and say there was another breaking news that I was going to act like I was going to get off, but I didn't want to do that to you guys twice in a row.
Yeah, what I found really funny is that I kept you on the line for like 3 or 4 minutes longer and got you to complain about Justin Bieber. Is it because you don't like Toronto that you did that? Like, Billy was telling me that you got big timed by a Toronto reporter a couple of years ago. This is Toronto, bud.
Oh yeah. This was year 2. I can tell that story another time because it's a little bit of a long one. But no, yeah. No.
We opened the show with it, brother.
Oh, did we?
Oh yeah.
Okay, nice. No, the biggest thing for me was that the biggest talk going into the draft this year was that they were trying to speed it up because everybody acknowledged that last year's first round took 9 hours and we were still waiting for draft picks to be called off the board, right? Mm-hmm. So now they're like, year 2, it's, we're trying to improve things here. And here comes Justin Bieber, which I have no problem trying to hype it up, getting the Toronto megastar to announce the Toronto Maple Leafs, first overall pick. But it took Justin Bieber 35 hours to walk down the ramp just to announce that Kevin McKenna was the number 1 overall pick. And then it was the most awkward announcing of a first overall pick that we've ever heard. Like, Mr. McKenna, you're a Maple Leaf. Like, no, this could have been sent in an email. That's the whole reason why I was in front.
Could have been sent in an email.
Are you more frustrated with how the draft went down, the last second here and there, the late night decisions, or that the Mavericks have been somewhat a little quiet during the transaction period here in the NBA?
You know what? Mavs fan in me years ago would have been like, this is kind of annoying. But you know what? They just made a good trade with the Grizzlies. I'm kind of content with that trade that they just made, so I'm okay with that. But no, I mean, the fact that the draft kind of picked up steam like through pick 10 and we started getting rolling here, and then the Golden Knights were deciding to trade down twice and make it a little interesting. You know what? I could have been mad the rest of the night, but you know what? Got through it. We got it done, and the light is at the end of the tunnel, my friends. We are almost home here with this whole summer thing here.
Oh, okay. Enough of the basketball. Let's get to the hockey.
Enough of the basketball.
It's the VGK Insider Show, Danny. Like we gotta play to the audience. If not, I'm gonna hear about it in the text line. Nothing has been officially announced yet by the Vegas Golden Knights. There have been some things that have been out there that have been reported as far as signings go. Rasmus Andersson, Victor Olofsson, Jeremy Lozon, Dylan Coughlin. What have you made of the Golden Knights open to free agency so far?
Fairly busy. One, I think they just had to tidy up a lot of business that they need to get done as far as their own guys, like you mentioned, Rasmus Anderson, Jeremy Lazon last night, Dylan Coughlin about an hour ago. Like they're trying to bring back a lot of their own guys, which was, I think, a big priority considering who was and who wasn't available on the open market. But when you look at, tidying business, obviously, from the sound of things, it looks like Kelly McCrimmon is going to talk to us in about 25 minutes or so. And right now, we're kind of going into this knowing that the Golden Knights still may need another forward or two. Their defensemen are locked up, which is good now that they've got 7 defensemen under contract and 2 goaltenders. But they're still looking at some work to be done as far as the forwards go. And we'll see what that looks like in the coming days. But all in all, to get most of their business tidied up, to get Rasmus Anderson locked in, and to get a replacement, it seems, in Pavel Dorofeyev with Victor Olofsson, bringing him back. So far, I would say it was a very busy but productive day for these guys.
Okay, so let's zero in on the Dorofeyev trade, in which the Golden Knights were able to turn Pavel Dorofeyev, a 3rd-round pick, into 2 firsts and a 3rd, and then they were able to further trade down that 1st-round pick to get a couple of extra assets as well. Tremendous asset management from Kelly McCrimmon. Restocking the cupboard seemed to be the main focus for the Golden Knights in terms of draft capital in this year's draft. So all that being said, like when you start to think about on the ice next year, replacing Pavel Dorofeyev's production. Number one, there's no guarantee that next season he was going to score 35 goals for the Vegas Golden Knights anyway. Right. However, how do the Golden Knights go about replacing or getting close to replacing what leaves in Dorofeyev signing and being traded to the New York Rangers?
That's really, if you think about it, that's kind of been the question we've been asking now for the last couple of years, right? Like it started when Jonathan Marchessault left a couple of years ago, and there was talk of how were they going to replace him. Turns out it ended up being Pavel Dorofeyev, which was a really good step in the right direction for him. And he doubled down and scored 2 more goals in the regular season and added 12 more in the playoffs. So, you look at the Dorofeyev deal on its axis, and there were reports out there that the Golden Knights offered upwards of $8 million a year. I mean, if you take the New York taxes into effect here, that's pretty much almost the same number, right? So it's kind of surprising that they took the bigger number and the bigger cap hit to make that happen. But as far as how they replace him, like that's going to be the biggest question going into camp this year. You bring a guy back in Victor Olofsson who, he's probably going to be the replacement for Dorofeyev on the power play, and that at least alleviates one area of concern. But now you've got to figure out, okay, Jack Eichel had 2 goals in the playoffs, and he was close on a lot of them, but a lot of the talk has been he has not been able to score goals in the playoffs. Can he do it? Mitch Marner obviously took a big step in the playoffs last year and, scored 10 goals and was a big-time goal scorer in that regard. Can he do that again? Can Mark Stone do it again? There's a lot of guys that are capable of doing it, but it's the same questions we've been asking now for the last 2 years, and they've had a guy in their organization come up through their organization to make that happen, and now he's gone. Now you got to kind of start from scratch again and see what you can make happen as far as putting the puck in the net.
Speaking with Danny Webster from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, joining us here on the Vegas Golden Knights Insider Show. So, Danny, if Rasmus Anderson is signed, it looks like the defensive pairs are set. Yeah, Anderson, Theodore, Hannafin, Lazon, McNabb, and Wotherspoon. Do you like these defensive pairings?
It's interesting, right? Because when they made the trade to move Caden Korczak to Pittsburgh for Parker Wotherspoon, you looked at that trade and was like, okay, there was your seemingly replacement for Jeremy Lazon, someone who can play on the left side, block shots, kill penalties. That's getting him at a $500,000 cap hit. That seemed like the ideal replacement, right? And then you go ahead and give Jeremy Lazon $24 million over 6 years, and suddenly that kind of brings things into a little bit of an interesting quandary. And now you're re-signing Dylan Coghlan, which, well deserved for him on a 2-year deal. Well deserved for him. So he's going to slide in as your 6th or 7th defenseman. And it sounds like you're going to rotate possibly, Lazan and Witherspoon on your left side. So it's interesting. I don't know exactly how it'll balance out. I don't know exactly what that third pairing looks like. Does Rasmus Anderson or Noah Hannafin slide down to the third pairing? Do they try and balance the minutes out a little bit more? These are going to be really interesting questions that will need to be answered between Ryan Craig and John Stevens between now and training camp to kind of see how they want to deploy. But right now, it's good that they've got 7 guys locked up on the blue line, but it is definitely going to be interesting to see how that shapes out.
All right, Danny, when you start to think about the Vegas Golden Knights and how they approach things, the big move, the big splash, more often than not comes at the trade deadline. So with that being said, how important was the work Kelly McCrimmon put in at the draft to replenish the capital that he has and the ability to go out there and make trades? Because I think we all know the Golden Knights are going to need to see what their team is moving forward, assess throughout the season, and then find ways to improve at the trade deadline. Having this collection of draft picks now, or the collection that Kelly has been able to amass, should allow them to address those needs in the regular season if they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, funny enough, we didn't even talk about the trade that, was just made official not too long ago with Keegan Kolesar going to Detroit.
Exactly.
For 2 more draft picks, including a future 3rd in 2029. So, this was obviously a big talking point, with the Golden Knights as far as if they were going to make a big swing, if they were going to go out and get one of the big names on the market. And by all accounts, they are still interested in those big names. How are they going to make it happen? Well, the good news is that they've now replenished the draft picks to the point where you've got an extra 1st in 2028. So that works out in your favor. And now you've got a couple of mid-round picks that you can kind of sweeten the pot in to kind of go with whichever other assets you throw in, for a potential trade down the road. Now, I want to stress this to everybody when it comes to whatever the Golden Knights do next. And if there is a big trade coming in the works, and I'm not saying there is or there isn't, there needs to be more moves made in order to make it happen. And I'm not just talking about cap space. You're going to have to make decisions with your roster to figure out how exactly you're going to make it happen. And those decisions, I'm guessing, are not going to be coming anytime soon, especially in the next 17 minutes before Kelly McCrimmon talks to us. But there's going to have to be a lot more roster construction that's going to need to happen between now and whenever that big move comes, whenever that may be.
Danny, so let's shift to the crease. Carl Lindbaum's been signed. Akira Schmidt's been traded.
Yep.
Aiden Hill and Carter Hart, are those your starters moving forward, or do you expect to hear something about Aiden Hill, most notably?
I mean, right now you kind of have to look at it as if those are your 1 and 2, right? And from the sense that I get, as talking to people over the last couple of days, is that Aiden Hill is fully confident in himself to come back next year and take his job back. And, that's the kind of mindset you need to have for a guy that's, signed for the next 5 years. And I think that's the way that they're going to go about it, unless they feel that Carl Lindbaum is significantly ready to take that NHL leap. And, you can definitely make the case that he could be ready for a full-time backup role, but he can still get some valuable experience playing in Henderson. And I think that's the way they're going to start it. Now, the goalie market, could they make a trade for another goalie? Yes. Will it be difficult? Absolutely. But I think right now, when you look at the way things are going and going into training camp in September, it looks like it's going to be Aiden Hill and Carter Hart. And by all accounts, Aiden Hill is ready and willing to show that he's not ready to lose that job yet.
All right, Danny, last one for you, and then we'll let you get onto your summer. Well, we'll let you talk to Kelly McCrimmon and then get ready for summer. Give me a bold prediction. Like, it doesn't need to be anything crazy, but I guess to some degree, like you mentioned the Golden Knights interested in some bigger names. splashes, all of those different things. If you've got one thing, one prediction you think is going to happen between now and, say, the beginning of training camp, what is it?
Oh, making my head spin after a crazy day. Now I got to think a little bit. Jeez.
Yeah, well, you're coming on the program not just to kind of throw things to the wall. Like we got to get you thinking, Dan.
We're not having you on the radio just for your good looks.
Yeah, come on, buddy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not just waxing poetic here.
Man.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make. You know what? I will say this. I think the Golden Knights will make one big trade between now and training camp. I don't know what position that will be. I don't know where that's going to address. But I will say that they will make one more big move beforehand, because they are not clearing all this cap space for nothing. They are not, amassing all these draft picks for nothing. Kelly McCrimmon's got a plan. He always does. And it would not shock me if between now and September, one more big move comes down the pipe.
Okay. Is it a center, a winger, or a defenseman? Or I guess a goalie?
Yeah. You know what? I'll hedge my bet. I will say forward.
Forward?
Because
so you're not going to lean into center or winger, huh?
No, because if I say center, there's still so much complicated, technicalities you have to make if you're going to bring a center in.
Yeah.
At least with a forward, it's like if you want to add a goal scorer, you can go ahead and do that because you need one. So I'll hedge my bet and say it's going to be a forward, and it's going to be one that has an emphasis on putting the puck in the net.
Let's go, Patrick Laine.
Oh, geez. You don't need to make a trade for Patrick Laine.
That's
you
true.
Just sign him.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm teaching Willie so many things.
You know what it is? It's just I've been stuck on that, and we're July 1st now. Last week, it was different. Now today is just so. Settle down.
I mean, to be fair, Laine is one of those guys that I thought after the Dorofeyev trade is like, this kind of makes sense. You can get him on the cheap if you want, put some bonus laden incentives in there, and see if he can hold up. I don't know if that's still on the table. But you know what? That's a move that wouldn't shock me. Another name that I have no inkling if it's possible, but another name that I do wonder about over the next couple of days at least is Patrick Kane, and if he would be interested.
Wow.
I hear Alex Ovechkin doesn't have a contract yet.
Yeah. Would he take a discount? How big of a discount would he take? What is a discount good enough for the all-time leading goal scorer?
Danny, Ovi's got great memories of playing in Vegas.
He does. He's very successful here. The only thing that from my understanding, my sources in DC is that he's looking forward to playing with Alex Tuch.
I could see that. Yeah, I don't think Washington makes those moves without thinking that Ovechkin comes back.
All right, Danny, get out of here. Well, go hang out with Kelly and then get out of here. Enjoy your summer.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Danny Webster, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Free agency opened up today. Boy, has it been fun. We've zeroed in on some of the moves the Golden Knights have made that have been confirmed. With the trading of Keegan Colasar, we know Akira Schmid has been traded as well. However, still waiting on Kelly McCrimmon to speak, still waiting on Kelly McCrimmon to confirm the reported signings that we have seen today. That of Rasmus Andersson, Victor Olofsson, Jeremy Lauzon, and Dylan Coghlan. So time will tell what that's going to look like for the Golden Knights. Hour number 2 of the VGK Insider Show coming up next. Stick with us.
Live from the Richard Harris Law Firm Studios.
I'd like to congratulate Joel on being the next head coach of the Henderson Silver Knights. He coached in the American League with our Henderson Silver Knights for 3 years before coming up to do 3 years with the Golden Knights. This is the perfect time for Wardo to go run his own team.
This is the VGK Insiders Show.
I'm excited for Joel, excited for the Henderson Silver Knights. There's great familiarity there with Joel. I love the way we do things. We find good people. We give good people opportunity. And with that, they're going gonna take the steps necessary. So I think it's just natural for us. Joel, he understands what the Henderson Silver Knights are all about. We're a developmental path for our players and prospects, and couldn't be happier to have him moving forward with us.
With Ryan Wallace.
I just wanted to say thank you. I definitely want to thank both these two gentlemen here and Bill Foley and the rest of the VGK organization just for entrusting me into this opportunity. It's something I always wanted to do post-career. Just really proud of them for sticking by me and putting up with me for the last couple of years and onto this next journey moving forward.
On Fox Sports Las Vegas.
VGK Insider Show rolling along here on a Wednesday. Final VGK Insider Show of Season 9, which is weird because Season 10 officially started today. The opening of free agency. There have been quite a few things reported that the Golden Knights have done. We will get to that as we get more confirmation. They have traded Keegan Colasar to the Detroit Red Wings. A couple of draft picks coming back the other way. They have moved on from Caden Korzak, traded him to the Pittsburgh Penguins, brought in Parker Wotherspoon, as well as trading Akira Schmid to the Florida Panthers in exchange for a third-round pick. So quite a bit for the Golden Knights. Kelly McCrimmon over the last couple of days. Started with the draft, the trade of Pavel Dorofeev, has continued here as we get closer, an inch closer to free agency. But the Golden Knights have done a really good job replenishing their cupboard of draft capital, which I would make the argument is good for this team moving forward because they tend to use that draft capital to make a big splash, not necessarily in free agency, not necessarily in the offseason, but as we inch closer and closer and closer to the trade deadline. It's Ryan Wallis, Willie Ramierez, hanging out with you for the next hour. We'll get to one-timers news and notes from around the National Hockey League. It appears some breaking news. It's July 1st. Every moment there's breaking news, but Frederik Andersen potentially to the Edmonton Oilers. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss Darnell Nurse and Jacob Trouba lining up for the San Jose Sharks next season as well. I know the San Jose Sharks made some splashes. I don't know that they're better, but we'll discuss that in one-timers as well. And I have an opportunity for you to win Smash Mouth tickets at some point in this hour, so be paying attention. Be listening for that as well. Now we bring in Eddie Rivkin, host of the Hockey Nights in Vegas podcast. Hey, Eddie, how you doing?
Fantastic, Ryan. Last day of the year, first day of the next year. Let's go.
Steady Eddie, let's go.
All right, so let's rewind to the draft on Friday around 4:30 p.m. I know it specifically because we were on the air and it happened. But the Golden Knights trade Pavel Dorofeev to the New York Rangers. They get a couple of first-round picks. One's top 10 protected in 2028. Then you've got a third-round pick as well. They were able to turn that first-round pick into a pick, as well as a couple of other picks as well. What were your initial impressions of the Dorofeev trade, and do you like it now that you've had a couple of days to digest it?
Well, I think it makes a lot of sense. If you look at it just from the numbers, Dorofeev was a third-round pick that they turned into 5 more draft picks.
Yeah.
With regards to the practicality of it, I think the perfect parallel is what happened to Jonathan Marchessault after he left the Golden Knights. He got his extra $5 million because Kelly wouldn't give it to him. He went to Nashville. The conversations all of us had immediately were, where are we going to get the scoring? Pavel Dorofeev steps up. Jonathan Marchessault regresses. I think he had 19 the first year after that. The New York Rangers, if you look at their lineup, they don't have a playmaker that's going to feed Pavel Dorofeev to get 20 power play goals next year. I would guess, and nothing against the player, a nice kid to talk to, but he doesn't make his own ice and he doesn't take other people's ice. He's a sniper. And I think that he's not going to get 35 goals. I don't even think he's going to get 30. And we're back to the same question. Where are the goals for the VGK going to go? Kelly acted preemptively. Somebody was going to offer sheet Pavel Dorofeev. 1,000% I believe that. And Kelly just decided, I'm going to get what I'm going to get. My my draft choices, pool is empty, and he's going to start to rebuild it. So I'm totally okay with it.
So the big splash that everyone's looking for, expecting from the Golden Knights, I would make the argument that it generally doesn't happen in the offseason. It generally doesn't happen here at the beginning of free agency. They have been a team that traditionally has been patient to figure out what their team is, what their team needs, and then they've addressed needs at the trade deadline. Do you get the sense that that's kind of where things are going right now as free agency is opened?
Well, I don't think that I don't think there's a big fish candidate out there big enough to force Kelly to have to move now.
Yeah.
So I agree with your premise. Every year the Golden Knights only know one thing. The goal is to win the Stanley Cup. It takes them some time to figure themselves out. There's a lot of roster moves. You know, you guys were talking in the earlier segments about all the re-signs. I think we've got to talk about losing Colton Sissons and Cole Smith at some point too, because their performance as Golden Knights both, you know, got them pretty handsomely paid. But I don't feel like anything is imminent. I don't know that anybody could come to Kelly with something that's going to wow him. And I don't think the Golden Knights have a package of anything to wow anybody into making a big deal. And that's pretty much my take on it.
Eddie Rivkin joining us here on the Golden Knights Insider Show with Ryan and the fill-in, Willie Ramirez.
Look at you. You're having
Eddie,
so much fun.
Eddie, I am. Eddie, are you content then with, if the Golden Knights were to go into training camp in September and into the season, are you content with the look of this roster now, knowing the capital that Kelly has brought in to make a move come February instead?
I think they're not. I think they might not be done acquiring capital. I can't answer your question because we don't know who's going to fill in. I mean, they basically gutted the fourth line within about 45, real world minutes between Sissons and Cole Smith and Colasar. So I can't tell you I'm happy with the roster because I have no idea what Kelly's thinking about as far as what that's going to look like. I will go out on a limb and say that both Braden Bowman and Connolly will make opening night. Mm-hmm. Connolly is an offensive. He's something to watch. Yeah. He's not really a pure scorer. He's more in the playmaker mode. But if they can figure out a way to get 10 or 15 pounds on the young man, because he's pretty slight. He's going to be, in my opinion, the best Golden Knight draft pick that they've had. He's going to be better than a guy like Nick Suzuki, and Nick Suzuki is fantastic. The kid has a ton of talent, and everybody's got the knock on him about some of his behavior when he was 13 or 14 or 15 years old. That's not going to fly in this room. We all know that. So I think there's going to be at least two kids that are going to make the opening night roster, and I think Braden Bowman absolutely is going to be one of them.
Yeah, I think Bowman definitely proved himself. And to your point about Connolly, I had a chance to speak to him at the Battle of Vegas charity softball game, and man, when you talk about confidence and excitement, there's a lot of enthusiasm with this kid and what he's ready to do next season.
So, okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I think the idea of Connolly and Bowman makes a lot of sense, especially considering Ryan Craig's the new head coach. And it's not because Ryan Craig is the new head coach, but he will know if Trevor Connolly is ready to make that jump. He will know where to best slide in Braden Bowman because of his track record with both players. I do believe this is an opportunity year for some of the younger guys that have been in Henderson, and I'm not just going to limit it to Bowman or Connolly. You talked about fourth line. Kai Uchas is a name that I think is going to get a lot of looks and opportunity come training camp to fill one of those roles as well.
Yeah, he's a big, strong kid. He's much more, I think, of a fully rounded player. I mean, we took a good look at Lavoie, and he didn't score at all when he was up here. He went down to Henderson. He was fantastic. He may have made his own ceiling that way. But when it comes to somebody like Uchas, he's a big, strong kid. He's not afraid to fight. He didn't have a good go-round in his first NHL fight, but the fact that he got right in there and got in the mix, I don't know a lot about him, but like you said, Ryan Craig now, after having those kids for a couple of years, he knows if they're fully cooked and ready for the show. I believe that 100%.
All right, so a couple of the reported deals that are out there right now for the Golden Knights. Again, nothing confirmed yet from Vegas, but the reporting on it is from trusted sources. Rasmus Andersson, 7-year deal. Victor Olofsson, 1-year contract. Jeremy Lauzon, 6-year deal. And Dylan Coughlin signing a 2-year deal. All that stuff taking place today. What are your... On Olofsson specifically, like, to me, it's one of those players that can score, one of those players that can come in and give you similar things to what Dorofeev gave you on the power play. As far as like a low risk, high reward move, I really like the idea of Victor Olofsson coming back to the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, for sure. If he wouldn't have got hurt, you know, we can play the speculative game the whole time. Olofsson's allergic to passing. Get puck, shoot puck. That's been his mantra, and he's pretty good at it. I mean, he's scored everywhere he's went. The key, obviously, like it always is health, and like you said, there's no risk whatsoever. It's a 1-year deal. I didn't see what the money was, but it wasn't good. You know, it wasn't going to be, you know, budget busting dollars. So yeah, I did have a chance to talk to him a couple of times when here. A nice kid, well spoken, was really glad for the opportunity. I'm sure he's really glad to be coming back. So I'm okay with it. They got to get the goal somewhere.
On Rasmus Andersson, again, reported 7-year, $8.5 million AAV contract with the Vegas Golden Knights. I contend that last season was an absolute gamut for Rasmus Andersson. A lot of different things thrown at him over the course of the season, not to mention, you know, what happened right before the Stanley Cup final with Claude Lemieux. You know, he's very, very close with him. That was his agent. Like, all of these things tend to get grace from me. What are your expectations for Rasmus Andersson, assuming things settle in and they're a little bit more normal as he starts his Golden Knights tenure on a new deal?
Well, I agree with you 100%. And it's insulting that the broadcaster of the Stanley Cup final talked about Frederik Andersen's relationship with Claude Lemieux 250 times in six games, and they never once mentioned that Rasmus Andersson was in the exact same boat. He had a horrific year as a human being. You talked about it. You went in depth. The one thing that you didn't mention is he didn't see his wife and his kids for almost a month.
Yeah.
From with the whole citizenship thing and having to get cleared in the United States, he joined the team in Canada. I like the player. I understand the criticism of it, but the people from outside who criticize him, they don't have the knowledge that we have as the local guys. He was put through a ringer as a man, as a human being. I don't have any doubts. Yes, did he make a terrible mistake in Game 2 of the finals that turned around that ended up as a really good goal by Carolina? Yes, but NHL players make mistakes. I think he's a really good hockey player. I hope that everything has been stable with his life. You know, the other thing that wasn't stable when he became a Golden Knight was the Golden Knights. Mm-hmm. They were clearly underperforming to the point that Kelly had to pull the trigger on a change with 8 games left to go in the regular season. So let's just say that the room wasn't all kumbaya when he got here either. So, you know, they have a voice now in Ryan Craig. Ryan knows a whole bunch of the people from his time behind the bench. He knows the kids that are coming through. He's going to be a different kind of voice than the other head coaches that the Golden Knights have had. So I think I'm willing to give – somebody asked me, you know, what do you think of the deal? You know, is it too much money? Is it too long? I think we should revisit that after this full season when he has a full training camp and his life, we hope, is settled and he's in a groove, and then we'll see what we get for the money. But I don't count too much that he struggled in last year at all, because it's the human element. I mean, they are hockey players, but they still are human beings, Ryan.
Once again, speaking with Eddie Rivkin, joining us here on the Golden Knights Insider Show. All right, so just in the last 5-10 minutes, we're hearing Frederik Andersen to the Edmonton Oilers. Speaking of goalies, you talk about Ryan Craig knowing these guys. He definitely knows Carter Hart. He definitely knows Adin Hill. He was on the staff when Adin Hill took over the start in between the pipes in the 2023 championship, and he certainly knows Carl Lindbaum. Are you content with that trio in terms of Hart and Hill starting off with the starters, Lindbaum down in Henderson, and potentially making his way to Vegas when needed?
Well, it's going to be very interesting. We don't get enough information about what's really going on. I wonder about how Adin Hill's going to be. I wonder if the fact that Carter Hart played 29 games in a row affected him. I wonder if he's mad about it and he's going to come back, and he's going to come back, like a house of fire, and compete for the number one job. Everybody, he didn't have a good year. There's no way to sugarcoat it. He was injured. I would argue that the best two starts that he had last year were the two starts right before the Olympic break, and the next he's not playing for 2 weeks. But if he is a prideful man and a prideful NHL player, probably thinks he has a lot to prove. And I don't suspect that they're going to move him before camp starts. So if Adin Hill is hurt by what happened to him last year, I expect a really, really rejuvenated Adin Hill to compete for the starter's job. It's always been health with him. And, he played 50 games the year before, then he gets hurt again this year. He misses a bunch. He only has 22 starts, I think, something like that. But I think that's going to be the way it's going to be. I think that, Carter Hart is not Ryan Craig's guy. I think there's a legitimate competition for the starter's net, and I expect that Adin Hill will compete at a very high level to show that last year was an aberration.
Speaking with Eddie Rivkin, the host of the Hockey Nights in Vegas podcast. All right. Golden Knights, just because Vegas is awesome and they've put together a tremendous team and they win a lot, they're a destination for a lot of players in the National Hockey League. We know that Dylan Larkin has requested a trade. Reportedly, he would be willing to be traded to the Vegas Golden Knights. You hear,
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I know, right? You hear Connor Hellebuck's name out there. Zach Werenski's kind of walked it back a little bit. Certainly, Jason Robertson still unsigned with the Dallas Stars. Again, it would seem that that's a player that would be interested. Like, all of these things are swirling. All the reports are out there. All the rumor mill is going wild with those particular players. Do you foresee something big like that from the Golden Knights or no?
Not in the immediate future. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I wasn't good at math in school, but if they have $6,100,000 in cap space, and Jason Robertson is looking for $15 million, I don't think that that's a fit. And Dylan Larkin's contract is $8.7 million for the next 5 years, which is a very good contract.
Sure.
Right? He's still a young guy, 30 goals, five years in a row. But according to my math, 8.7 is still more than 6.1 million.
Well, okay, so you bring up a great point, because so often when we start to get the rumor mill going with these types of players, right? The idea is, well, you're Vegas, just go out there and throw a couple of draft picks and a prospect at them and go get the player. The reality of the situation is any of those moves, any of those deals are going to cost you at least one, maybe two roster players in order to make it work from a salary cap perspective. And that's something that I think a lot of fans need to wrap their head around. If you want a Dylan Larkin, if you want a Zach Werenski or a Connor Hellebuck or certainly a Jason Robertson, it's not just picks and prospects. It's picks, prospects, and roster players.
Well, yeah. Just do the easy math. How are we going to get to to $15 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's say Aiden Hill is at 6.5 and Shea is at 7.4, so that gets you to about 14. So maybe if we get the tax discount, that gets us here. But is that a move that you want to make? I don't know that I know that. All the other math equations to get to 13, 14, 15, they don't make any sense. This is not a team that's going to gut itself because it's a bad team that needs to be in remodel, rebuild, whatever the term in vogue is for teams that aren't playing well. This is a championship caliber club that is just sort of fine-tuning their way through things. So, sure, did Kelly have a conversation about Brady Tkachuk? I suspect he probably did. Do I believe that he's talked to Steve Yzerman about Dylan Larkin? I believe he probably has. But he still has to answer to the great American dollar. And I don't see a package leaving Vegas that would be acceptable enough for them to make a move like that. There's no reason to gut it to get any one of those guys. Sure, I would love to see Jason Robertson as a Golden Knight. That gives them 3 players on the front that are all 90-plus point players. Yeah, but what do we have to give up?
Yeah.
We can't get them for Jack Eichel and 3 bags of pucks. And we're not giving up Jack Eichel. We're not giving up Mitch. We're not giving up Noah Hannafin. And we're not going to give up Rasmus Anderson if that's the money. We're not giving up Shea Theodore because at 7.4, his contract is actually a pretty good value right now.
Yeah.
So unless you know or you can come up with a package, I don't see any reason whatsoever to gut the team to get any one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the reality is, again, it costs you more than just what you're willing to get up in terms of draft capital. And that's the reality of the situation, especially for players like that. All right, so defense is pretty well covered right now for the Golden Knights. Goaltending makes sense. I don't think that there's a name you're looking at there moving forward. With free agency officially open, you're looking more towards forwards. Is there any name, any player that stands out to you as an obvious fit for the Golden Knights?
Not Patrick Laine.
Yeah, Willie.
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming.
Well, hold on.
I'm sorry. It was a beach ball on a tee. I just had to give it to it.
So, give me your reasoning why on Laine.
Well, he's been a cancer in 3 different cities, and now he's injury prone. I don't believe that there's a reason to bring in him. I would rather see them give Connolly a chance than do that. They need to find out. The Golden Knights need to figure out who's going to replace Cole Smith, who's going to replace Colton Sissons, who's going to replace Keegan Colasar. Where that line, when they put together that 4th line, that was the first time that the Vegas Golden Knights had a 4th line that had a full-on identity since the meat grinder line.
Yeah, well, I think, you're going to build that 4th line now around Nick Dowd, right? Like he's
you would think
here,
so,
right? So you've got an anchor for your 4th line in Nick Dowd. Now it's about finding the right pieces. I firmly believe Kayuchaz can play that role on the wing, especially with a veteran like Nick Dowd. So you might be looking for one player, sure, but I think you can find something out there that makes sense for the Golden Knights moving forward. I still think they need a scoring winger. Outside of Victor Olofsson, sure. I think that's probably where I'm looking. Maybe you're a 4th line winger and a scoring winger are like the 2 things on your wish list as a Golden Knights fan going into the season, unless Braden Bowman can be a scoring winger, which we saw at various stops throughout this season. So maybe that's your internal scoring winger. You supplement it with Victor Olofsson. Now you got to find somebody to put on your 4th line that gives you identity. But I think that's kind of where the Golden Knights are at right now in terms of the offseason and what they have.
What about the great Gretzky?
Well, I think you go into next season with Brett Howden, William Karlsson and Mitch Marner as your second line.
I'm looking for 20 plus from Brett Howden.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if he's with Karlsson and Marner
exactly.
to start the year, I don't see any reason why Brett Howden can't score 25, 30 goals, right? Like that should be the expectation.
So there you go. If you get 25 from him and you get 13 or 14 from Olofsson, you've covered Dorofeyev's 35, 37 goals for $4 million. That doesn't suck, right?
No, not at all.
I mean, I see that pathway. That line was arguably their best line for a good chunk of when they played together. So why not? I mean, if you're Ryan Craig, you got to start that way for sure.
For sure. And then and then you can look at Olofsson perhaps up with Eichel and Barbashev, probably go Stone there. You can move Bowman to kind of be that anchor point of your third line with Tomas Hertl. Like, there are options for the Golden Knights. I think they're going to be able to find a way, because just like we talked about with Jonathan Marchessault, like, it was Pavel Dorofeyev, a young guy that stepped up and found a way to help replace that production. And I think the same thing's going to happen for the Golden Knights. An expanded role for Brett Howden, maybe more shot first mentality from, say, Jack Eichel and Mitch Marner. Then you can add in a Braden Bowman or a Trevor Connolly or some combination of those two players. I think you're going to get close to it. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem making that math work.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love if somebody could hypnotize Jack and Mitch into shooting more. That would be great. But otherwise, they're going to enable people. Jack and Mitch are both going to have 60, 65, 70 assists next year. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So it's just a matter of who's going to be the beneficiary of it. I mean, clearly it's going to be Olofsson on the power play. You're 1,000% right on that.
Yeah.
But if they keep that line together with Marner and Karlsson and everybody stays healthy, 25 for Brett Howden is not at all a stretch.
No.
He proved in the playoffs, in the hardest hockey of the year, that he can get it done.
Especially taking a regular shift with William Karlsson and Mitch Marner. So I'm with you there. All right, we're up against it. We got to let you go, but thanks for jumping on here, Eddie. It's the last show until September, so thanks for being a part of it.
Hey, I'd much rather chat with you and Willie than go to City National and listen to a press conference.
Well, that's one way to end the conversation. Thanks, Eddie.
Talk to you soon.
That's it. Eddie Rivkin, the host of the Hockey Nights in Vegas podcast, joining us here as we touch on a whole host of things. The Golden Knights draft, what they've done so far in free agency, what we know has actually taken place, all of those things. But right now I want to give something away. I'm feeling, I don't know, in the mood to make someone's day. If you are a Smash Mouth fan and you love America, then I've got the show for you. America turns 250 on July 4th, and Smash Mouth are playing the pool at the Sahara on the 4th of July. So if you want to go to that show, 702-876-1340, be caller number 10. Caller number 10, you're a winner. One-timers, news and notes from around the National Hockey League. That's coming up next on the VGK Insider Show.
Carlson left corner, centered, one-timer, score!
It's time for One-Timers. A quick look at news and notes from around the National Hockey League. Brought to you by Paul Padalaw. It's not about the injury, it's about the recovery.
One-timers, news and notes from around the National Hockey League, brought to you by Paul Padalaw. Not about the injury, it's about the recovery. There's been a lot that has taken place over the course of the last few hours in the NHL. It makes my head spin, quite honestly. But we'll zero in on a couple of teams. Number one, former Golden Knight Colton Sissons signed a 2-year deal, $4.25 million AAV with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto notable today because they've got their goalie. They've got their goalie of the future, Sergei Bobrovsky. Toronto, 3 years, $7 million per season.
Pencil it in.
Well, they can write it in ink now.
They can write it in ink. And we are destined for a Maple Leafs Golden Knights final.
No, we're not.
You're
Toronto's not making the Stanley Cup final. Come on.
You're supposed to just ride with me.
No, I can't do
July
that.
1st, let's,
Listen, I am a big Bob fan. I like Bob.
Yeah.
I do.
It's hard not to.
Yeah. However, he was not good last year. $7 million is a lot of money to pay to an aging goalie who was not good last year. Now, Bob can get it back, but I still don't know what Toronto is. I have no idea what this team's going to be.
The same could be said, Ryan, for Connor Hellebuck. I mean, you're talking about goaltenders that are getting older, and their price tag goes up based off of awards and name recognition alone. But now Bobrovsky's a two-time Stanley Cup winner in Florida for what he did there. Connor Hellebuck, he's got a couple of Vezinas, but he's also got a lot of ugly postseasons.
Willie, all of that's out the window now.
Oh.
Connor Hellebuck won a gold medal for Team USA at the Olympics. He was exceptional in that gold medal game as well. Connor Hellebuck's good. All he needs to do is get to another team that has the potential to win a Stanley Cup, and he's going to win.
How'd Winnipeg do this past year?
Oh, it wasn't Hellebuck's fault.
No.
Their team was bad.
Gotcha.
And he had some injuries. It's not about the regular season for Hellebuck. It's typically been about the postseason. I'll give you that. I'll concede that point. But again, he won the gold medal for Team USA. That hadn't happened since 1980. I don't know if you were aware of that. Crowning achievement for USA hockey. Connor Hellebuck, an American hero.
Lock him up.
I will not stand for the Hellebuck slander. Not at all. Not even a little bit. Not going to entertain it.
All right, bring him in.
But Bob, I'll tell you this. I don't feel like it's going to end particularly well for Sergei Bobrovsky and the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't think a lot of things are going to end well for a lot of players in Toronto.
Okay. All right. The San Jose Sharks are an interesting team because they've got a tremendous young stable of talent. They added some big pieces at the draft as well to their already growing pipeline of young players. And free agency hits, and I tell you, they could not spend money fast enough. San Jose brought in Jacob Trouba, 4 years, $8.25 million for Jacob Trouba. They brought in Mason Marchment up front, 5 years, $6.75 million for Mason Marchment. Then they traded for Darnell Nurse. $9.25 million for Darnell Nurse for 4 more years. Did they get salary retained? No. Not only did they not get salary retained on Darnell Nurse, but they gave up Shakir Mukhamadullin in the deal. Like, if you're agreeing to take on the entire cap hit of Darnell Nurse, you don't give up an asset to do it. You're doing Edmonton a favor. I'm perplexed. And listen, change of scenery for Darnell Nurse. He's a good defenseman. He is the type of guy that you want in playoff series. I think the goal, the expectation for San Jose is to take a step, is to move closer to getting into the playoffs. There is value that Nurse brings to the table inside of a playoff series that can be helpful and valuable, not to mention the fact that he's gone to 2 Stanley Cup finals. Like, he's been in pressure-packed moments. He hasn't won them, but he's been to them. That can help a young San Jose team learning how to take that next step. But I have an issue with going out there making a trade for Darnell Nurse and giving up something and paying full value for it. Because the reality of the situation is, it doesn't matter how valuable Darnell Nurse might be to San Jose moving forward, he is not a $9.25 million defenseman. And you just let the Edmonton Oilers off the hook. Unreal.
Well, and you brought it up earlier in terms of building pieces around Celebrini. He's obviously the future, the face of that franchise. But I'm of the belief that you can build pieces around him with players closer to his age to build up that franchise. I don't think, now you mentioned what he could bring in terms of experience in the playoffs. They got to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've got the right building blocks just yet. Remains to be seen. But can they be a surprise? I mean, we saw what Utah did this past year. We saw what Anaheim did. I don't think a lot of people thought that Anaheim was going to pull off what they pulled off, and I think a lot of people had it penciled in that they were going to knock off the Golden Knights after they got through the first round. But I don't know if San Jose is a playoff team yet to be able to utilize Darnell Nurse's experience.
I think you go out and make these moves because you believe you are, right? And
I think they all. I'm sorry, hang on. I think every team, even the worst in the league, believes they're a playoff team when you go in. If you don't have that belief, then what are you doing?
I don't think the Chicago Blackhawks believe that they are a playoff team.
Even with Connor Bedard?
What has it done for? They went out and overpaid for Bo Byram. Good for you. Does that move the needle?
Well, they better figure it out.
I don't
better have the belief that they think that they're.
I don't think that they're any closer. Chicago.
We don't. I'm saying.
I don't think they believe it either.
That's not good.
Okay, maybe Chicago's not the right team. I don't think the Vancouver Canucks believe going into next season that they are a playoff team.
Teams that make a ton of moves this past week and into next week believe that they're, including teams like the Golden Knights, and that's why they're making moves to become a playoff-ready team.
Yeah, you can try to convince me all you want to that Vancouver believes. They know wholeheartedly they're not. They're not. Now, I will tell you what San Jose is doing. With Darnell Nurse on the ice, with Jacob Trouba on the ice, with Mason Marchment on the ice, no one's going to take liberties with Macklin Celebrini or Will Smith or Michael Misa. They have beefed up. They are not going to be a fun team to play against. So I guess that's cool for San Jose. They made moves. I don't know that they're that much better because of it. I like Trouba a lot. I do. I don't think Darnell Nurse is a $9.25 million defenseman. I think that's going to age poorly, just as it did with the Edmonton Oilers. And in a couple of years, when Macklin Celebrini needs a new deal, when San Jose is right in that window to be a contender, they're going to have a 33, 34-year-old Darnell Nurse and a 34, 35-year-old Jacob Trouba getting paid $17 million against their cap. I don't get it. I don't understand it. From San Jose's perspective, it doesn't make any sense to me.
There's only one more move they got to make. Ryan.
Yeah, what's that?
Lock up unrestricted free agent, 39-year-old Ryan.
Sure. The Kings, another Pacific Division team, been very busy. Eric Holla, 2 years, $3.6 million. Corey Perry, 1 year, $1 million. Seriously. Corey Perry again. He'll get traded at the deadline. They locked up Matt Zuccarello as well. I think the tweet that I saw earlier is that LA signed 4 players that are a combined 138 years old. So LA leaning into old people.
They are. Let me ask you this for LA. It's an interesting dynamic with that team because they're not only losing a quality player and a veteran, but they're sort of losing a cornerstone.
They're losing their identity.
There you go.
Yeah,
they're losing their
identity.
And Anze Kopitar.
Yeah.
Who steps in? Does Kempe automatically go in there, or
Well, as far as their next
or do
captain,
they have to find a whole new identity?
Well, I think it's Drew Doughty now, which is interesting because he's in the twilight years of his career as well. I mean, it's Anze Kopitar's the end of an era. He's the end of the most competitive stretch of hockey in LA Kings history. So, Yeah, I mean, I think your hope was that it'd be Quinton Byfield, but it hasn't happened yet. Right? Like, that was supposed to be the heir apparent, the guy that takes up the mantle for Anze Kopitar, and it just hasn't happened yet. So could it? Yeah, there's still time. They've got Artemi Panarin. Like, they have tried to improve. I'll give them that. But and I think Haula is a good pickup. I like Corey Perry. He has been very productive in the late stages of his career. Matt Zuccarello, limited by injury last year, but again, a serviceable player. I think the pieces are there for LA, but until...
What's the average age that you want your roster to be?
I mean, I like somewhere in the 28, 29-year-old
their average age
range.
as of right now with their forwards is 30.5.
Yeah.
And defensemen 30.3.
Sure.
I mean, they have some names on that team. Like you said, they're just aging, and it's a matter of can they all come together? Because you look at the name: Panarin, Kempe, Fiala, Byfield.
Sure.
Haula, Loughton, Perry, Zuccarello. Can they come together? I mean, it's an impressive list. It's a matter of can they work together? Can they bring it together? And what can they do based off of, like, if this was 3 years ago with all of their ages, then maybe there's a little, but are they breaking down? Where are they, I don't know. They're always going to be, they're kind of that team that's always going to be a thorn at some point. It's a matter of when you catch them. They're going to step up and be a pain in the rear for the Golden Knights at some point, and then in a different month when they're all of a sudden Vegas will have figured it out, but they'll be a pain in the rear for the Oilers.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Oh, and the Edmonton Oilers have signed Frederik Andersen. They've got Tristan Jarry. They've also got Devin Levi. 3 goaltenders for the Edmonton Oilers. We kept talking about them needing to address it, and they've gone the overkill route. Those are your one-timers. We'll wrap it up next on the VGK Insider Show.
I'm on fire over here, lads. Come on, I need some back and forth. Come on, what do you got for me? What do you got for me? Now make it quick. Make it funny.
We're down to the wire. It's the last minute of play.
Wrapping it up here on the VGK Insider Show. Ryan Wallis, Willie Ramierez, Angel Castro. It's been a fun show. Free agency officially open in the National Hockey League. Golden Knights have done quite a bit of business over the last couple of days as we inch closer and closer to Season 10 for the Vegas Golden Knights. This is the last show of the season. We will be back in September, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun when we get there. Willie, you've been able to sit in for a couple of shows.
I'm honored.
Yeah? You had fun?
It's fun, yeah.
Good.
It's definitely fun.
What's your favorite part about being a part of the Vegas Golden Knights Insider Show?
The banter more than anything, but I mean, I don't know. You just, I think that you've, you want me to be nice about it? Or you want to be snarky?
No, you can be snarky. It's fine.
I don't have any snark. I'm all out of snark today.
Yeah?
I'm all out of snark today.
Well, that's good.
I don't want to, well, no, I'm not going to do
good.
this.
Good to see we've broken
I'm
you
not gonna do
after
this.
after two shows. Hey, listen, will Aiden Hill be the number 2 goalie, the number 1 goalie for the Golden Knights? That's a question on the text line.
I say he'll be number 1.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
I know Aiden Hill's training regimen.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't discuss a lot. We talked about it.
Yeah.
And I won't reveal to what the extent that he goes to, out of respect for his privacy. But what I tell you is this: his competitiveness. Let's not forget that he went through this.
Yeah.
In the championship year, who was the starting goaltender? You remember who the starting goaltender was going into the playoffs in 23?
Yeah, it was Laurent Brossoit.
Right.
Yep.
And Logan Thompson sat upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that he's going to fight his way back into the starting role.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be an open competition. Yeah. That's just kind of the reality of the situation. So we'll see how things pan out. A big thank you to everybody, all of our listeners, all of our fans. You make this show what it is. We love you for it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in September. VGK Insider Show signing off. Thanks for listening.